Send in the red shirts.
Hey everybody, it's Q Storm. I'm back. I'm not in my red shirt. That's because I'm on an away mission. I'm infiltrating a Romulan starship. My name is Galen. Don't tell anybody. No, actually, I'm on the road again. I'm getting ready for a shoot tomorrow. I'm in a hotel room. I'm exhausted, but I wanted to get this review out. Today I want to talk a little bit about the second Star Trek Discovery tie-in novel called Drastic Measures. I always have to think about these titles because the first one was called Desperate Hours. The second one is called Drastic Measures, so it's very similar. I'm reading the next Star Trek Discovery novel called Fear Itself, so I guess they got a two-word title type of thing going on here. So I'm not going to give away any spoilers. I am going to tell you some basic stuff. The novel is basically a prequel to the episode of the original series, Conscience of the King, which centers around Kodos the Executioner, as we all know. Well, this novel takes place during the time of that event. It features Commander Lorca and Commander Georgiou. They are both assigned to separate starships, and what the novel centers around is the execution of the 4,000 colony members on Tarsus 4, I believe it is. That's where the novel begins. Kodos he seizes control, he becomes governor of Tarsus 4, and he enacts his plan. Now that's not a spoiler because we all know that that's what happened as of the original series episode. So what made this novel good at the beginning was that it really was interesting to see how, and I'm not really one who likes to have everything kind of tie together, that we had to have Lorca involved with this and Georgiou involved. As you know, what happens is the food supply gets infected with a fungus, and Kodos comes up with this plan, and so he kills 4,000 people, half the colony. Again, that's not a spoiler. The characters that we know, Lorca and Georgiou, how they are involved is that Lorca, he had a female companion who was one of the victims of Kodos's plan. So he's out for vengeance. He's working for Starfleet, but he has ulterior motives. He wants to basically execute Kodos himself. Georgiou is on, I forget the name of the ship she's on, but she's assigned to a ship that's coming there to provide food for the colony. And this is a mild spoiler, part of the problem is that Kodos, in enacting his plan, he thinks that that ship is like 3 months away when in effect they arrive there 2 days or just so many days later. So that's the setup for the novel, and I got to tell you, it was great. It was pretty cool reading all of the backstory. Like I said, I don't really like when things get tied in. You know, that just conveniently Lorca and Georgiou are part of this scenario. It really worked for me. The novel was written by Dayton Ward. I forgot to mention up front. I love the way he writes Kodos. It really was interesting to see this character fleshed out prior to what we saw on Conscience of the King. He's a three-dimensional character. There's a lot of detail in regards to how he takes power. It's really well written, and it plays as Star Trek, but it also plays as political intrigue as well. The way that Mr. Ward writes the actual scene where Kodos enacts his plan is nothing how I had imagined it from watching the TV show, but it's very chilling. You can picture it in your head, and the pictures that I get are very disturbing. So kudos to the writer for that. Having said that, since we know the result of what happens to Kodos because of the episode, again, a lot of the suspense is taken away. Basically, the novel then kind of degrades into a series of scenarios where they're trying to track down Kodos. They're fighting some of Kodos's followers and some of his sycophants and the people that worked with him in the government. It's like kind of manufactured suspense and manufactured thrills because we know Kodos is not going to get captured because that's how we get to the original series episode. So that was a real down point. For me, around halfway through the novel, I kind of lost interest because, again, It was just a series of events where Lorca and Giorgio are fighting off Kodos supporters. And that kind of got stale after a while. It's worth the read because, like I say, it was so cool to see how Ward writes Kodos. Even seeing how Lorca gets developed and Giorgio gets developed. I really like the fact that we see them as commanders as opposed to starship captains. So we get a little idea as to what happens in their past. Lorca is fleshed out a little bit more, But here's the problem with Lorca. In the Discovery series, we learn that he is from the Mirror Universe. Now, there's nothing that says that this Lorca in this novel is not the Prime Lorca, but they never make mention of a Prime Lorca in the TV show. So I just assumed that meant that he got killed, the Prime Lorca got killed on the Baran when he blew it up. And that was the Prime Lorca that did that. And maybe the Mirror Universe Lorca found that out about the Prime Lorca, and he then just steps into the Prime Lorca's shoes on the show. So I don't know. I know that was all confusing. I'm just saying, if this is the Mirror Universe Lorca in this novel, which they don't determine it is or not, I'm assuming it was, it just lends less credence to the Lorca we see on the TV show, that the Mirror Universe version would go into the Prime Universe and spend all this time and get embedded so deeply and have relationships and all this stuff and be so devoted to Starfleet. I mean, he's portrayed like he is do or die Starfleet. But that doesn't really make sense given that we learn what his ulterior motives are in the TV show. And I said it on our podcast. Given what we saw on the TV show, it seems like he would have just gone to the Prime Universe, grabbed the first starship he would have seen, even taken it hostage and then taken it back to the Mirror Universe. I don't know. That just didn't make sense to me. Unless, like I say, the Lorca in this novel is the Prime Universe Lorca, and none of the writers make any reference to that. The writer Dayton Ward makes no reference to that. So I don't know. That might be far-fetched. But anyway, read the novel. Let me know what you think. Like I said, the beginning is great, falls apart towards the middle half, and then kind of limps towards the end to a conclusion that we already know what's going to happen. So that's always the problem with these prequels. But anyway. Check it out. Leave me your comments, your disagreements, your agreements. Leave them in the comments below, please, and I will read them all. And listen, like I said, I'm starting to read the new novel, Fear Itself, which is centers around Saru. And I got to tell you, so far, it's pretty damn good. I wasn't expecting it to be so good. Saru is the main character he's the only character that we know from Star Trek Discovery, the TV show. So it's pretty good. Thus far, it's pretty good. I may be, 10 chapters in, but I'm enjoying it. So as soon as I get finished with that, I'll come back with another review. And until then, take care, guys.